All right, what up, guys? We are back for the second half of today's podcast. We're going to be breaking down, previewing UFC 301, Pantoja versus Erceg. I am your host, as always, Adam Martin. That's Big Marcel. This is the MMAOB Daily Podcast. And I'm looking forward to previewing the latest UFC pay-per-view. It's kind of crazy. Like, UFC 300 was just a couple weeks ago. Are we ever another pay-per-view already? It's kind of nuts, right? UFC's really trying to milk the fans rate for money.
The week off as well, so maybe that's why.
That's true. Yeah, it kind of like comes and goes those weeks off. What do you think about this card? I'll just ask you that right off the bat. What do you think of this card, man? Because I kind of feel like it was put together really fast. What do you think?
I agree, but you got to take in mind it's mostly for the Brazilian viewer. You know what I mean? So I think it's okay. I don't think it's like a next level pay-per-view or whatever what we had for 300, 299, 298. You know what I mean? It's kind of in between a 298 and 297 pay-per-view. I mean, you guys really got a rough one, you know. But in between that, you know, it's okay. There are some fun fights on it. I think there's a really fun matchup with Myktybek Orolbai against Elves.
Yeah, I was going to say that one. That's the best fight in the card, I think, honestly. It might be. I mean, I think the co-main event's good, too. Yeah. You know what this reminds you of, to be honest with you? It's like those old the Brazil cards they used to do like 10 years ago where it was all mismatches. That's kind of what I thought. Because you have like most of these guys are minus 500. I mean, if you look at this card. All right, let's get the comments here. We got Glenn in the chat. You saw him with the tickets. Jesus. I mean, I would go for $12. How could you not go? How could you not go? You know? Yeah, they're just calling me there. It's not great. I mean, I would definitely go though, man. I would definitely go for $12. John, what's up, man? Yeah, here's the thing, John. It's a pay-per-view month, but now they're going to do 2 in June. That's why this has happened. So you have one in early June and then late June, right, Marcel? You have the Islam card and then the Connor card. So that's what happened. They're going to do 13 pay-per-views this year. I think, right? 13. So
I think the last one is in December. That's 310.
Yeah.
So 14 actually.
14. Well, there you go. They're making a lot of money. All right. But Knox, what's up, man? Glad to have you here. What's up, Antoine? 14 fights. Yes, sir. Osbook, what's up, man? Yeah, we'll get through the card now. All right. Let's say you just get into it, Marcel. Again, we start from the bottom, work our way up. We use MMA or UFCstats.com. We'll start with the first fight on the card. We have the flyweights at it when Alessandro Costa takes on Kevin Borjas. And the odds for this one, Marcel, have Costa minus 142 favorite, Borjas plus 120. What's your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, man, fun fight, flyweight fight, right? Alessandro Costa, teammate, training partner of Diego Lopez. Lost his last fight against Steve Erceg, who is actually funny. He's opening the card and Erceg is closing the card as a title shot, right? Before that, got a good win over Jimmy Flick. And I think he looked decent against Albazi before he got finished in the third round. I think he's a pretty good fighter. He's fighting Kevin Borjas. If you look at Borjas, got a good win over Victor Diaz in the Contender Series. I think that was the first fight of the season, and he was a pretty big underdog in that fight. His fight against Joshua Van, he started really well, man, in the first round. You know, he looked really good, but Van took over and he won the second and third round. I think it will be a fun fight, but I'm thinking I'm picking Costa here, man. I like Costa a lot. I think Borjas is a good talent, you know, but I feel like Costa will win this fight. It's more experience, in my opinion. I go with the decision win for Alessandro Costa here.
Yeah, I have the same pick as you. That's my pick too. I know he's 1 and 2 in the UFC, but like the 2 losses are to elite guys. You know, they're top 5 guys, top 10 guys. Just destroyed Jimmy Flick in the other fight. I think he's a good striker, pretty good grappler too. Borjas, I mean, listen, he's a good striker, man, and he did show some really good defensive grappling against Diaz. I wouldn't completely count him out here by any means. He's definitely good. He started off fast against Van too, though, but the thing is he got really tired as the fight went on, and I don't think you want to do that against Costa. I could see Borjas winning the first round and then Costa kind of taking over as the fight goes on. I'm with you, though. I think you keyed on to something in the experience. He's fought better competition, Costa. He's fought more times, and he's fighting in Brazil. So I think all those things should help him here, and I think he'll win the decision as well. So there you go. All right, we'll go to the next fight here. We got Ismael Bonfim taking on Vinc Pichel, and the odds for this one have Bonfim minus 470, Pichel plus 360. Pichel's last fight got canceled, right? It was against, remember who was it against? Bonfim, right? Yeah, and they just rebooked it.
Bonfim was too heavy. 3.5 pounds too heavy.
I don't blame him for turning it down, but they just went and rebooked it again. Listen, like, I like Vince,
Me too.
I think this might be the last time he fights in the UFC. I think he loses, man. I think he's going to get probably finished in this fight. I know he's super tough. I understand that. He's a veteran. He's been around for over 10 years. I respect him a lot. But Bonfim's a finisher, and I think he's going to come in to finish this fight. But I will say this, if he doesn't finish in that second round, he might gas out. So, again, minus 470, the kind of heavy odds. He should win the fight. He's the younger guy. He's more explosive. He's a better finisher. But, man, Pichel could grind it out late. I don't know. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, I think it will be an interesting fight. I think maybe, like you said, if it goes to a decision, Pichel might edge out the third round, but I think Bonfim will do enough to win the first two.
Okay.
So
there you go.
But I actually think that he can finish him as well. So I feel like it's like if I would bet on this fight, I would probably go for a finish for Bonfim in this one, or I would go with a decision for Pichel here, because I think Pichel can win a decision, but I'm going with a finish for Bonfim. I think he finishes him in the second round, probably by submission. I go for.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of submission too. By the way, Pato says we need Pichel Swanson.
Yeah, they look like each other.
Yeah, they do. I was gonna say though, it's funny because Swanson's finally fighting Feely, and I felt like that's a fight that could have happened years ago. Now they're fighting, so we'll see what happens there. All right, we'll go to the next fight here. We got the women's flyweight Dione Barbosa takes on Ernesta Kareckaite, I think. Is that how you pronounce it?
Kareckaite.
Kareckaite. This is a tough one to pronounce, man. Barbosa's favored, as you'd expect, minus 218. Kareckaite, is that how you say it? Plus 180.
That's what I heard. Kareckaite. So
I think it might be. I think it is. But Barbosa's favorite here, and Marcel, I think we were talking about her before she came to the UFC. Like, I know you were pretty high in her, right? Her grappling is very high level. I mean, I think that goes without saying. She's definitely a quality grappler. Kareckaite, I don't know. I mean, she's 5-0-1.
Mm-hmm.
She had this fight in Contender where it was kind of a slugfest. These two girls were just punching each other in the face for 50 minutes, and Dana White got really excited and signed them both, I think, right? But I don't know. I feel like she's still super green, dude. Still super green. I get it. The other girl doesn't have a lot of MMA fights either, but she has so much grappling experience. This girl's a kickboxer. It's a striker-grappler fight. I'm always going to take the grappler in that situation, dude, especially when they're this green in MMA. Give me Barbosa. I think she submits her. What do you think?
Yeah, same thing, man. I really like Dione Barbosa. I think she got in short notice against Ryan Guerrero, right, in the Contender Series. She submitted her in the first round. Kareckaite, she fought the Carly Judas girl. Split decision win. Was a close fight. Like you said, striker versus grappler. I also take the grappler here. I think Dione Barbosa. I think she also trained with Chris Cyborg before. I don't know if she still does, but for me also Dione Barbosa. I think she wins by submission.
Let's get some comments here. You like Dion? She's definitely good. She is good. Marcus, what's up, man? Glad to see you recap. No, appreciate that, man. Thanks for listening, dude. Really appreciate it, my friend. All right, we'll go to the next fight here, Marcel. We have the lightweights when Mauricio Ruffy takes on Jamie Mullarkey. And the odds for this one have Mauricio minus 166, Mullarkey plus 140. I'll start on this one. Dude, I'm fading Jamie Mullarkey any chance you can get. And I think the odds on the other guy are just really low for some reason. I thought he would be a much bigger favorite. He looked fucking great in a Contender Series, dude. He destroyed that guy, Raymond Magomedlayev. Destroyed him. That was one of the most brutal stoppages in the third round. It was so nasty. The guy is definitely a dangerous dude. And he's taking on Mullarkey, who's super chinny. Super, super chinny. I can't pick Mullarkey. I know he's got more experience in the UFC, more experience overall, but I don't care. I'm not picking him. And again, Marcel, these fighting nerds guys are really good at fighting. They might be nerds, but fuck, they can fight.
They're nerds.
Dude, I mean, all of his wins are basically by knockout. And again, he finished this dude with 15 seconds left in his last fight. He's got good cardio too, as we saw. So Mullarkey coming off knockout loss his last fight, I think he gets knocked out again. I really like Ruffy here. Minus 166. Wow. I think it should be much higher. I think he wins for sure. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's because Ruffy didn't look really great in the first round against Magomedlayev, if I can remember. He came back in that fight pretty much, and he got the finish. But yeah, he has quality. You got a lot of these, like you say, fighting nerds. You got Carlos Pradas, you got Caio Borraio, João Silva, who's also on this card later.
Yeah.
good fighters there, good camp. I like Ruffy here as well. Mullarkey can win this fight by being fucking boring and holding him down, but can he hold him down? That's the question. I don't know. I'm also going with Ruffy here. I think Ruffy wins. I think he does it by finish. I'm going with Ruffy by ground and pound TKO in the second round.
Yeah, I like that too. So check the prop for the knockout because I think that's a good one. Yeah, Ruffy did open as the dog, which they obviously blew that line. He shouldn't have been the dog. All right, we'll go to the next one here. We got Joaquim Silva, Neto BJJ taking on Drakkar Klose. I thought Klose would get a bigger opportunity just because
he deserved that.
Coming off a slam knockout. They gave Cody Brundage the opening fight on UFC 300, and they give this guy a prelim on UFC 301. It's very weird to me. Anyways, Drakkar is the favorite here, as you'd expect. Minus 185, Silva plus 154. I'll start on this one, too. These guys have both been in the UFC forever. Dude, you have to go with Drakkar Klose here. You have to. I mean, this guy is just a really good fighter. He's fought quality competition his entire UFC career. He's been a good fighter for a long time. He's got really good wrestling. He's got some power in his hands. He's a guy who's constantly improving. And then you got Silva. I know he's gotten better. I agree with that. But a guy who's still very chinny. He's been knocked out a bunch of times in the UFC. And the guy, we call him Neto BJJ, but he doesn't have any submissions in the UFC. So, I don't understand the nickname at all. He doesn't use his grappling really whatsoever. I know, I guess Clay Guida, he did a little bit, but it won him the fight, a close fight against the corpse of Clay Guida. Dude, he struggled with Clay Guida. I mean, that was a close fight against the guy who's 40-something. Drakkar Klose is in his prime. He's ready to go. I think Drakkar wins this fight. Probably decision, but I could also see him knocking out Joaquim. Again, I thought the odds would be higher on Drakkar Klose. Minus 185 seems a little low to me. I have him like a minus 250 favorite here. What do you think?
Yeah, man. Did you also hear what I think it was an interview with James Lynch that Drakkar said that Courtney Casey almost passed away during her labor? Man, that's crazy, man. Yeah. Drakkar Klose is also a typical fighter, was really underrated in the UFC. Only has 2 losses on his record against Beneil Dariush, who was he was a tiny inch away from finishing Dariush, and Dariush took the reverse card on him and knocked him out. And he got pretty much one clear loss against David Taymor, I think. Klose is kind of the guy who was super tough to fight all the time, And for me, Joaquim Silva is way too inconsistent. I like him. Many people will say, yeah, but he staggered Arman Tsarukyan. Yeah, but he still lost the fight. I'm also on Klose here, man. I honestly think Klose can win the. What the hell happened again?
So you're good. Yep.
Do you hear me? Oh, so Klose won the fight. Or Klose will. I think Klose will win the fight. I'm going with the finish as well. TKO second round.
There you go. All right. Drakkar's got to get a win here, and I think he will. Yeah, that should be good if you watch it, Marcus. You're back, Marcel. It's okay. Don't worry.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell, dude.
You're good. Don't worry. You're freaking out for no reason. Don't worry. All right.
What the hell, dude?
You got Gene Silva taking on William Gomis in the UFC featherweight division. And this is the guy that does the bark thing that Marcel hits the button on. So, yeah, I mean, let's get the odds up for this one, man. It's an interesting fight. We have the odds for this one: Gene Silva minus 142, William Gomis plus 120. I'll let you start. Who are you picking?
Yeah, so let's first talk about William Gomis, right? 3-0 in the UFC, wins over Jarno Aarons, Francis Marshall, and Yanis Gemuri. And all 3 fights weren't really convincing, to be really honest. The Jarno Aarons fight, he did well, almost got finished in the 3rd round, but he won that fight. Yes, the Marshall fight was pretty close. He won a split decision. And the Gemuri fight, I don't know, man, if that was a legit finish still. The referee gave it a TKO, but I felt like Gemuri really got hit low. So if you look at Jan Silva, got a great win over Contender Series, was a decision, but was a great win, I remember. And he knocked out Weston Wilson, but I don't know how much stock I can put into that. You would say William Gomis has a good chance to win here, but it's in Brazil. I think will be a close fight. I'm going with Jan Silva by split decision in this one.
Honestly, I really want to hit the button on this one because Silva. Listen, he's definitely looked good, but again, I'm looking at the physical stats, and Gomis is way taller and longer. I mean, and he's a southpaw too, so the physical stats all go in his favor. But I think for me, it's it's in Brazil too, and I feel like they're going to be biased against him. I think it's going to be a competitive fight, and despite being the smaller, shorter guy, I still think he can win this fight. So. It's not a fight I'm convinced about. I wouldn't bet on this fight. If you want to bet on Gomis, I understand that. I think he's a dog that's live for sure.
I agree.
But I'm gonna take Silva here. I really wanted to hit the button on him, man, but I they both have so much momentum coming here. But Silva again fighting in Brazil, I think that gives him a slight edge, and I think he's gonna win the fight. You thinking decision, or is that what you're thinking for him?
Yeah, split decision.
Yeah. You call that. Yeah, I think that's kind of the way to go. Because the Gomis is going to be hard to knock out. So, but I also feel like Gomis is a live dog. I don't blame you at all for picking him. The problem I have with Gomis is like again, I'm looking at the stats and he's just so inactive, guys. Like he only lands 2.5 strikes a minute. Like it's not enough. I think it's gonna the volume's going to be a problem for him here, and the judges will go with Silva. But again, I think Gomis is definitely a live dog. I have to make a pick. It's going to be Silva, but I'm not super confident in that one. All right, here we go. We got a great fight here, guys. And I think this might be the best fight in the card, to be honest with you. I think this fight should be higher in the card. I understand why it's low because these guys aren't household names, but Elvis Brener takes on a Myktybek Orolbai, and I love this fight, man, in the lightweight division. Orolbai is the favorite here, Marcel. He is minus 258, Brener plus 210. I love the fight. Both guys have really looked good in the UFC. Obviously, Orolbai just had the one fight against Medic, but that win is aging really well. Medic is a good fighter. He submitted him, looked amazing, took it on 7 times. And Brener, 3 straight wins by upset, right? I think it's 3 straight wins to Hugov. Then Kutadalaze knocked him out. And then the last guy, Konya and Krzyzewski, that was a nice win too. And the thing is, he's one of those guys that trains with Oliveira, right? So you think, okay, he's got really good grappling. And he probably does, but he's using a striking, dude. And his striking looks really fucking good. And he's got good cardio. He's got a lot of heart. I don't want to count him out here. I have to take Orolbai. I have to pick him because the guy's nothing but impressive, and I think he's going to be the better grappler here and take him down and hold him. But, dude, I don't want to count Brener out, man. I really like Elvis Brener. I think he can, show up too. So, again, not a confident pick, but I'll take Orolbai. It's just not a confident one for me. What do you think?
Orolbai was in trouble against Medic with striking, but the thing was like super short notice. So what can we take up from that? It's really hard to say. I'm also an Orolbai in this one, but and it's like you said, it's far from a sure pick because I think both guys have a lot to bring to the table, and if Brener can hit him good, he can put him away as well. So
yeah.
I'm on Orolbai here, but I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Brenner's definitely a good fighter. And, man, if he wins this fight, they're going to have to give him a ranked opponent, I think. Do you think UFC would sign Khalid Satov? I don't know who that is.
Yeah, he's the only guy who beat Orolbai.
Okay.
I think he's 12-0 or something, but he's a good fighter. I think but he's almost touching 30, so it has to happen now. But he has some good wins on his record, man. I also remember in ACA he beat Herbert Batista. So we'll see. Maybe,
We got Jamie in the chat. He says, "Hey guys, how's it going? Glad to have you here, Jamie. He's looking forward to seeing Aldo fight. That should be fun." Yeah, Rebeski Ferrer should be on this card. All right, let's go to the next fight here, guys. We have Karolina Kowalkiewicz taking on Iasmin Lucindo. Yasmin's a big favorite, minus 360. Kowalkiewicz plus 285. I'm taking Iasmin, but I think the odds are pretty excessive here, man. This should be a pretty competitive fight. Karolina's looked really good lately. She's got some nice wins lately. I know it's fighting lower ranked girls. I get that, but she's looked good. It's just that Yasmin's so young and she's constantly improving. There's a 17-year age gap here. I can't ignore that. I have to take Lucindo. I just think the odds are a little excessive. Minus 360 for a girl with 3 fights in the UFC. I don't know about that. She should win though. I think she'll win the decision, but I don't know, man. The odds seem really high. What do you think?
I like Karolina, but I think she gets absolutely destroyed in this fight.
Do you? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, right. I think Karolina has looked good as of lately, but it's against lower level competition, And I think Lucindo is really only getting better every time I see her fight. You know what I mean? And she's super strong. Her ground game is super solid. I think her striking is good to watch. Man, I think, honestly, Lucindo should have been a bigger favorite, to be honest. So I'm completely opposite on you on this one. Okay. But I'm also picking Lucindo. I also think she can finish this Karolina. I wouldn't be surprised,
There you go. All right, we'll go to the next fight here. We got the last prelim here. Jack Shore traveling to Brazil to take on Joanderson Brito. And Brito is the favorite. Minus 166, Shore plus 140. I'm taking Brito, Marcel. Have to pick him here. Jack Shore is definitely a solid fighter, but I think Brito's really, really good. And other than that loss to Aldo, which, was a competitive fight, he's improved since then, though. He's 4 straight wins. He's finishing guys. He has knockout power. He has submission ability. He can go 50 minutes. And I'll tell you right now, that win over Diego Lopez is aging really well. It's aging really well. I know there was like an eye poke at the end of the fight early. Still aging well. And the wins in the UFC are solid. Andre Fili, Jonathan Pierce. I mean, those are good fucking wins. The Lucas Alexander guy's a good win. Weston Wilson, whatever. That was short notice, and he had to just fight someone. But the other ones are solid. Jack Shore, definitely a solid guy too. Overall, good grappling. We got that. But I think against Ricky Simon, it kind of showed where he's kind of capped at where he can go in the sport. Kind of, I don't know. I also look at Jack Shore, and all his wins are against guys that are not in the UFC anymore, whereas Britu's beating guys that are still on the roster. So, like, all of Britu's wins are against guys on the roster still. Britu's really good. I think he can finish Jack Shore, dude. I'll tell you that right now, man. I think he can finish him. I think he can drop him and submit him just like Ricky Simon did. So I'll take Joanderson Britu. I'll take him by submission. What do you think, man?
I like Joanderson, but I'm still on the fence with him, I mean, you say like Diego Lopez, yes, but also take in mind Diego took that on 4 days or 5 days notice, the fight, and they know what contenders. But before that, he has a good win as well over Shep and Mariscal, so so cannot say anything. Gotta say, in the Pierce fight, man, he didn't look good last time. He got the finish by ninja choke as lately because Pierce fell over. Like, man, well, we saw that earlier, yesterday. But I mean, he got the win there, so that was good. Jack Shore, I mean, he was doing very well, and then he met the Ricky Simon. I also thought against Valiev, it was kind of 50-50, man, to be honest. Mm-hmm. But, we'll see, man. I think Joanderson Brito wins, man.
There you go. We have the same pick there. All right, let's go to the next fight here. We got the opening main card bout. Paul Craig taking on Caio Borjas. Caio is a huge favorite here. Minus 485. Paul Craig plus 370. So Borjas is one of the biggest favorites in the card, and I absolutely think he wins this fight. This is a showcase fight for him, man. Listen, Paul Craig is a guy you can't completely count out because the submission ability is amazing. The ground game is incredible, but this is a horrible matchup for him. I think it's just the worst matchup you can have in the division, honestly. Borjas should be the far more effective grappler from top position. He has unlimited cardio. This guy doesn't get tired. He's a guy who's constantly improving. Not only do I think he wins, I think he finishes the fight. So I think that's the way to go for this one, is to look for a prop on Borjas by finish. I think he actually could submit Paul Craig, which is crazy because Craig is the guy who submits everyone else, but I think Borjas can actually do that here. So I'm going with Borjas by submission, Marcel. That's my pick. I feel really good about him here. I think he wins for sure. What do you think?
100%, and I'm also on Borjas here. I think Borjas will be a very, very dominant actually by the grappling, and I think he submits Craig as well. I know Craig has that submission win, those submission wins, where he can submit somebody from out of nowhere, but I think Borjas has a better game there, so I'm going with Borjas.
Yeah, I'm with you completely on this one. All right, we'll go to the next fight here. We got Michel Pereira taking on Ihor Potieria. And odds for this one, another huge favorite here. Michel Pereira, minus 440. Ihor Potieria, plus 340. I'm taking Michel all the way. And once again, I think this is a showcase fight, and I think he finishes the fight. I'll take Michel Pereira by first-round knockout. I think he's on a roll. He's looked great at middleweight, and I think he destroys Ihor Potieria here. What do you think?
Yeah, I feel the same way as well here, I mean, Potieria, I have nothing against the guy. He looked pretty good against Robert Britchek, but I think Pereira is a step up, clearly, and Pereira has looked good so far at 185, and I think he gets another TKO win here.
There we go. Same pick on that one. All right. Those went by quick, but we'll go to the next fight here. All right. I'm going to get your thoughts on this fight. We have Anthony Smith, the real Anthony Smith, not Bogdan Guskov, the real
Anthony
one.
Smith.
Funny how they fight back-to-back weeks, eh? Taking on Vitor Petrino. And the odds for this one are very high. Vitor Petrino is the biggest favorite in the card, minus 520. Anthony Smith, plus 390. My pick. What do you think, man?
So I think Anthony Smith gets always underestimated, man, to be really honest. The thing is just like, I think he's not that guy anymore who's like, he's not a top guy anymore. He's still pretty decent, don't get me wrong. But the thing is, like, Petrino is going up and Smith is pretty much going down, so they meet in the middle right now. Petrino, he didn't look great against Pedro, but he got the job done, and yep. I think he might do the same approach with Smith here, I also, it's a 3-rounder. I also think he gets the job done. So I'm with Petrino in this one. I think Petrino wins, but I don't think it will be a very, a very entertaining fight, to be honest.
I think the odds are way too high here, guys. Like, this is kind of crazy to me. I mean, all of a sudden, like, I want to say he's a much bigger favorite here against Anthony Smith than he was against Tyson Pedro. That doesn't make sense to me. He didn't really look that great in that fight, I think the guy's really good. I mean, he's definitely well-rounded. He that's what I like about him, is that he can knock you out and also submit you and grapple you. That's what I like about him. And that's why ultimately I will pick him to win this fight. But I think it's going to be competitive, man. And the odds are way too high. I don't blame anyone who want to take a shot at Anthony Smith at plus 400. Basically, that's what he is now. Way more experience in the UFC. He has, a ton of fights, and he can knock you out and submit you too. It's just, again, like you said, he's kind of on the decline. That's why I'm picking against him. I can't pick a guy that, is coming off that horrible knockout loss to Khalil Roundtree too, which also worries me, right? So his chin is going now. I'm just saying, man, Anthony Smith gets counted out so much, Marcel, and he's won a lot of fights in his career as an underdog.
That's true.
A lot.
That's true.
Gustafsson, even the Ryan Spann fight, the last one, he was an underdog in that fight, and the first time they fought, I think. So he's a guy that's constantly counted out. He's a guy that has pulled off tons of upsets, and I wouldn't completely put it past him here. He's still a student of the game, dude. He's still working for the UFC, doing all that stuff, and still trains at elevation. I don't know. I almost want to take a shot at Smith here. I just can't do it, man, because the age, the durability concerns. But I think the odds are insane. I don't know. I think minus 520. Why is this guy the biggest favorite in the card? That, to me, doesn't make sense. I think the biggest favorite in the card should be probably Michel Pereira or Caio Borralho, the last two guys. I don't think it should be Vitor Pacino. I think Vitor should be a minus 250 favorite to a plus 200 on Smith. So there's probably a little bit of dog value on Smith. I don't think I can touch it, though. I'll just stay away from it. I'll take Pacino, but I'll take him to win a hard-fought decision where he uses his wrestling to win a close decision. These odds are really, really disrespectful towards Anthony Smith, in my opinion, man. I don't know. All right, we'll go to the next fight here. This is one of the best fights in the card, obviously. We got Jonathan Martinez, the Dragon, taking on Jose, the King of Rio, Aldo, making his return to the UFC. Jonathan Martinez, minus 135. Jose Aldo, plus 114. I'll start on this one. I'm going with my boy, the Dragon. I have to take him here, Marcel. Obviously, Aldo is a legend. He's one of the greatest fighters of all time. He's a UFC Hall of Famer. He's a legend in every possible way. But he's also 37 years old. And Jonathan Martinez, 30 years old. Jonathan Martinez is a guy that constantly is improving. He's always getting better. He's won 6 straight fights. Tons of momentum coming in here. He's destroying guys in the cage. And not only that, but if you look in his UFC record, I mean, the Andre Ewell fight, man, he should have won that fight. In the Davey Grant fight, yeah, he got knocked out, but he also dropped Grant early and kind of got tired and ended up losing. And it's always a worry in the back of my mind that could happen again. I just don't know if it's going to happen here against Aldo, who's really, to me, past his prime. I watched his fights in boxing. He didn't look that great, in my opinion. I watched the Jeremy Stevens fight last year. It was a draw against Jeremy Stevens, like the ghost of Jeremy Stevens. To me, this is going to be another grappling match. This is going to be not a grappling match. It's going to be another striking battle. And I just think Martinez is going to be the more effective striker. He's going to be the harder hitter at this point in his career. And I think he wins the decision. It's going to be a hard-fought fight. But at minus 135, I'm taking Jonathan Martinez. I have to take him. Always liked this guy for a long time, and I'm taking him to win here, man. It's going to be the biggest win of his career. I think he outstrikes Aldo and wins the decision. What do you think, man?
You know how much I love Aldo, man. I still think he's the GOAT in featherweight. This is a bantamweight, right? I think Martinez is going to win the fight, man, to be honest, I just think that I just think he will do more, I think I could say his kicks, but Aldo kicks as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like I'm going with Martinez here, man. I think he just will implement his will and get the win. I don't think he finishes Aldo, but I think he gets the decision. And he needs to win a clear decision because he doesn't get a close decision here. So.
No, I agree with that. All right, and then let's go to the last fight here, guys. We'll get to it, the main event. We got Alessandro Pantoja taking on Steve Erceg. Odds for this one have Pantoja, as you'd expect, the champion's favorite, minus 245, Erceg plus 200. Listen, I like Steve Erceg. When the fight was first announced, I was like, man, this guy could win. And I think he has an outside shot. But the thing is, this is a big step up in competition from Matt Chanel. It's a huge step up. And Pantoja, listen, man, he's unbeatable. He's lost. But again, he's improved. And the last 5 fights, look at who he's beaten. Brandon Royval, Brandon Moreno, Alex Perez, Brandon Royval, Manel Kopp. That's a killer's row at flyweight. The guy is really well-rounded. He has so much experience. He's fighting in Brazil. He's going to be the better grappler here. He's probably going to be the better striker. I like Erceg a lot. I think it'll be a competitive fight that probably goes to decision, but I think Pantoja wins 3 or 4 rounds and wins the decision, man, in Brazil. So give me Pantoja. I think he gets the win. I think he defends his title. I like Erceg a lot. I just think he could have used 1 or 2 more fights in the UFC before he got the shot. What do you think, man?
Feel the same way, man. I mean, Erceg, good fighter, but I think it's a little bit too early. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. I think Pantoja's going to win. I think he wins the decision again, Pantoja's just pretty all-round. The only thing with Pantoja is he kind of guesses in the 4 and 5 round normally, and then he still wins those rounds with his grappling. So I'm going with Pantoja here.
So if I'm not mistaken, we had all the same picks on this card, didn't we? We took all the favorites. I think we took all the favorites too, which worries me. Obviously, I mean that's always a worry. Obviously some underdogs are going to win. Every week we always pick underdogs on this podcast. It's not like we come in here, expecting just to pick favorites. But
if I would pick one, I maybe would go with Brener. But
that'd be your dog. That'd be your. I think there's some live dogs. I think for me, live dogs would be. I think Smith. I think Brener. I think Gomis. Gomis was the guy I was closest on. I think. Yeah,
Gomis also possible.
I think those are the ones that I think are live here. And there's an outside shot of some of these veterans, like a Pichel, I think other guy gasses. But for me, it's like I said at the beginning of the podcast, I think this is a showcase card. Most of these Brazilians are like minus 500 favorites, and most of them should win the fights. So that's my thoughts on the card. I am looking to the card, forward to the card. And again, we're going to get some picks wrong because there's no way this card goes on without. Dude, it's just like, when was the last time all the favorites won? It's happened a few times, but it doesn't happen.
I don't know, dude. I don't keep track.
I mean, I do, and it's like it's only happened like a couple times, like the last couple of years. So, but I think this could be one of those cards where it's almost all the favorites win. You might have 1 or 2 dogs, and watch it be like 6 or 7 dogs win. We're like, holy shit, we had a horrible night. But I don't see it happening. Like again, most of these guys we know about. I think maybe some of these fights, Marcel, that have like the newcomers, maybe because there's just not as much info on them, possibly. But even that, I don't know. I appreciate that, man. Who's our lock of the night? I hate using that word, Pato, as you know, but I mean, for me, it'd be probably Ohio and Pereira. I mean, I think they both win. I want to see what are the odds if you parlay though. I mean, I know they're both big favorites, but if you parlay Pereira and Ohio, parlay, it is minus 200. Yeah, you're laying 2-1, but you're getting 2 guys that should absolutely win the fight. So I don't hate that at all. I mean, you want to add Pantoja in there, you could. You get basically even money, I think. So, don't I don't love parlays, but I'm just saying that's an option. This card, you're going to have to basically do parlays though, Marcel, because they're almost big favorites unless you go to the Martinez's or the Silvas, and then get those fights will be competitive. But yeah. All right, last comment here. Thoughts on Iasmin pulling out? I don't know what happened there. I have no idea. You have any clue on that? Yeah, Erceg did lose that fight, but he's improved since then. So, yeah. All right, guys, I think we're going to get out of here. Really appreciate everyone joining us. It's a nice Sunday afternoon. I want to get out of here, Marcel, but thanks again. Anything you want to say, Marcel? Appreciate it, man. As always, jumping on everything.
I'm good. We'll see you guys next week with the recap of UFC 301 and the preview of UFC St. Louis with the amazing main event. I mean, I love the card, but the main event, Jesus.
Yeah, I'm glad they added Buckley and who's a boy of the card. All right, guys, I hope you have a great week. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.